Hey everyone, welcome to Maegical Mind and Soul, the live talk show. We're so grateful for all of you tuning in with us and chatting with us. We have an awesome topic today. A topic that is very heartfelt and close to all three of our hearts, as we've all directly experienced addiction. We've experienced the pretty low parts to it, each individually, and Megan's even seen my low parts of addiction and was instrumental in helping me through that. So we're going to talk today about addiction. We're going to talk about how it seems to be really backwards in society right now, and how we each overcame it. And we're gonna talk about different types of addiction too. And of course, with all of it, my name's David, with my lovely wife Megan.
Hi.
And the amazing Richard Cisneros.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to a great episode. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. And the first thing I think I can speak for us when we want you to know anyone out there that is currently dealing with addiction or anyone that knows someone that is, please know there is hope. No, you can overcome and defeat this addiction, okay? It is not more powerful than you. It is not. And that's one of the things, and I know I'm sure you guys can agree with me or speak upon this, but in society, one of the things that bothers me the most, before we get into our stories, I noticed, at least going through it, so many people and so many thought forms and so many societies tend to give so much power to addiction, taking away from our own individual power.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. Just a simply thing. I mean, not organizations out there. It's not to put any organization, I'm not going to name any, but what we're talking about, if ever you gone to a clinic and there's the well-known 12 steps, by my personal experience, been there, done that, done the 90-day thing and this and that, it was just quite not enough. But one thing I can say this, that for anyone out there, I have to say, and this is my personal opinion through my personal life experience, it is not just a disease that you live with it for the rest of your life.
Yes, I love that you said that.
We're conditioned to believe that we are powerless and that we don't have power.
And for anyone that's dealing with a loved one out there, there's a lot, loved ones get affected so deeply, and it's such a mind screw because the loved ones start to think that this person is not going to heal from it. There's no power, and they all get affected. But we are all so powerful.
Even worse, that person does. They think that they believe that they have this incurable disease.
Yes.
And the more that they think that, the more that's going to be their experience.
Yes. That's such a powerful thing. So can you say that last part one more time?
I don't. What did I say?
you know what's beautiful about working with both of them is they say such profound things naturally, and I'm like, stop, say that again. But the more you think, please listen, this is such a powerful foundational takeaway statement. The more you think that it is incurable, that you are stuck this way and that you can't beat this addiction, you create that reality for yourself. I get goosebumps saying that.
But you can literally, if this is you can change the script right now. Right? Yeah. Like by claiming your power back.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one thing I have to say to everybody. It's been said that if a person has an addiction, that they're an addict for the rest of their life, and then they affirm it.
I hate that.
Yes, that's not true, guys.
Right. They say, I am an addict. And it's like, oh my God, that's the worst affirmation.
Yes, absolutely. You're giving power to that. That's something that no longer you were, maybe possibly you're thinking you were that, but you no longer are. So why give it power again?
People would be amazed if they said the opposite of that.
That's
Instead, I'm an addict. If they literally affirm the opposite of that, they would be amazed at what shifts miraculously, and it doesn't even have to take a long time. That's the beauty of it.
That's one of the things that bothers me so deeply. Yeah. I know we'll get into each of our stories, but I went to AA. I went to all that back in the day with all my drinking when I had my problems. I went to that. They make you stand, and again, please understand if this is working for you. There are people that it
works for. So let's say
if it's working for you, please continue. Absolutely. Please continue. If there's anything working, please find what works for you. Everyone's different. But in my experience, standing up and me saying, I'm David and I'm an alcoholic, that deeply did not resonate. And something in my soul was like, why are you doing? What are you doing?
Continuously.
Continuously.
You're giving it that power again.
Every meeting.
It's an affirmation.
Yeah.
And you give it that power.
Crazy.
Wherever you put your energy. Wherever you speak, you give it energy.
Right.
And so you're affirming it and reinforcing it. And you're actually nurturing that seed that's no longer there. So you're planting another seed in mind.
Well, and a lot of people that I've seen that it's worked for, they still have had to change it where like they can't go out and like go to a bar or be near a bar or be around people that drink. And again, it doesn't have to be that way because he was a train wreck, okay? And he went.
I was a train wreck. I'm not gonna. It was pretty rough.
It was a true addiction, but now he can be around people that drink and are in that atmosphere, and it doesn't even faze him.
Yeah, I'd be. Yeah.
Yes.
And he was bad, y'all.
Yes.
Bad.
We're definitely going to go into more detail how we are able to capable of doing that because there's another current of something else. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Absolutely.
It has to do with the spiritual entities, which I can't wait for him to talk about a little bit later in the episode. So if you're listening to us now, stay tuned to near the end of this episode because there's one aspect of this addiction thing, the spiritual part of it and the entity part of it that we're going to speak more on, especially Richard. And I can't wait for him to share that with you all because both Meg and I we all want people to awaken to these truths so much more and understand it's just our experience.
Yes.
Right.
Good disclaimer here, guys. We're not medical doctors. We're not giving any medical advice here, guys.
But we speak from experience.
By experience, personal experience, that how we transcended that, or overcame that, and now we're living the life that we should be living. And that peace and tranquility that never leaves us.
Absolutely.
So we're going to emphasize on that. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. And anyone can get caught up in addiction too. So one last disclaimer is don't remove your guilt if you're in addiction. There's a lot of private addictions out there that aren't so public. There's addictions from alcohol to porn to drugs to
food.
Technology to food. Like, there's no guilt in that. You're a human having a human experience. Sure. It's okay. Just become aware of it and take the actions, which is what we're going to talk about.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess to start, Megan, we all have kind of different aspects of stories. Richard's and I are a little more similar. Yes. Megan, if you want to start out with, talk to us about how you got caught up in what addiction you were, what it was, and how we overcame it.
So I never had any addiction,
such as like
it wasn't alcohol, it wasn't anything like that. And it was a different type of addiction because it wasn't an addiction where it's like, oh my God, I have to have this, or like, I want that. But I'm going to talk about how my body, though, became physically dependent on it. And in that way, I was addicted without even like wanting it, like I didn't want to have to take this. So, if you've watched episode 1, then you know that I've been through a lot of traumas throughout my lifetime, starting at a very young age, things that no one should ever go through, and having just one of them is horrific, and then you talk about like several, and it was hard for me to cope, to function, starting at a very young age, and I had horrible PTSD, horrible insomnia, the insomnia out of control. I never knew what sleep was like for really since a child. Just recently have I learned to know what it's like to get sleep and rest, which is amazing. So what doctors put me on at a young age was Klonopin, and then they would alternate between Klonopin and Xanax. And y'all, for over 20 years. Wow. For over 20 years. We're talking almost 25 years that I was on these things to help me sleep and to function and in society. And I would build a tolerance up. So that's why I say I would alternate. They'd have me on Klonopin, and then Klonopin didn't work. They would give me such a high dose, like we can't give you any higher of a dose, right? And it wasn't working as well, and so they put me on the Xanax. And this went on for, like I said, almost 25 years. The problem was it doesn't take long to get hooked on it. And y'all, I did not care about having it. If anything, I didn't want it. But I learned very quickly that I had to have it, because if I missed 2 days in a row, I would have vertigo. I would have it felt like the flu. It felt like a horrible flu, and the night sweats, and it was so bad that it was like, oh my God, where is it? I have to take it just because I'm so sick.
So on that note, understand, a lot of you may know this, but for those who don't know, the most medically, or what they've told us anyway, but it's true, this part is true, that benzos are the most dangerous thing to immediately remove. They have the strongest withdrawal.
Oh, yeah.
And withdrawal from
So
benzos,
bad.
not doing it the right way, can cause death.
So, or seizure. Yes, it's a horrible drug. I mean,
She
there's
was-
long-term
and that's
side
only for
effects.
5 or 6 years.
dementia.
She was on for 25 years.
Yes, and that was a
25
scary thing.
years of benzos.
That was a scary thing.
Yeah.
It was a scary thing. And, there were times that, like, I would, because I worked in medical software sales. And so every week I was on the road selling at trade shows. And I recall a few times that I was in New York or wherever at a conference, and I realized I forgot my Xanax.
Oh, boy.
And talk about bad. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything because I was so ill. And it was like, how do I even get on the plane? I had to call the pharmacy and tell them my situation and be like, give me, I know you can't refill my prescription, but give me 2 nights, 2 days worth, please. And
for survival.
for survival. And it was a scary thing. And there were so many times I was like, you know what? I don't want this anymore. Because I'd also discovered plant medicine. Cannabis helped me a lot with sleeping. And I was just like, I don't even want this anymore. But every time, y'all, I tried to get off this medication, I could not. Like, even if I took just a tenth of the sliver of the Xanax off, I'd be okay the first night. But night 2 of taking a sliver off, just like, I'm talking like a pepper, like little sliver. And I had those symptoms again, like severely, severely sick. And so it wasn't until we figured out there is a right way of getting off of it, because they told me, oh, you're so bad off, you're going to have to go stay in a rehab center.
So yeah,
long-term side effects.
We went to a professional,
terrified.
and they were like, you have to go, just like you said, to a center for like 2 months or something ridiculous like that, and be in this controlled
And
environment.
I would
with
have
doctors.
long-term side effects. Since I've been on it for like up to 2 years, I could have all these horrible side effects, which I did have side effects for quite a while.
Right.
But I figured out how to get off of it.
Yep.
With the help of David and talking to the right people that actually knew what they were doing, and for me, I had to, it was a very strategic process. You would take off, like an 1/8.
Yeah, we had we basically took off like an 1/8. Then
And then the next day you take the full dose again.
So there was a
The
strategic.
next day an 1/8, then the full dose again.
There was a strategic way we tapered off, but what we want to really hit on in this case, and feel free to DM us or message us afterwards, we can kind of go further into that, but no, you can get off it, and it's a tapering process. But the key parts to this was the cannabis was incredibly helpful. Plant medicine
Getting
was
out in
incredibly
nature.
helpful. Getting out in nature during the process.
Journaling.
Journaling.
Talk about affirmations, y'all. They are so
Meditation.
powerful. Because it's proof. Because whoever is saying, I am an addict, that's your experience. And it's because you're affirming it. So if you do the opposite, then that's going to be your experience. And so that's what I did.
Yep.
I didn't want to say I'm dependent on Xanax. I'm saying I'm free of Xanax. I'm releasing any blockages that have kept me from releasing this.
Was it 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks it took us?
It didn't take that long.
We got her off Xanax after 25 years of taking it. We got her off in 4 to 5 weeks with the tapering process, utilizing plant medicine, cannabis, that is ridiculous how stigmatized that is, but let's not even get into that. It's a whole nother topic. Utilizing nature, utilizing meditation, writing every day.
Yeah, lots of meditation.
And using these
grounding walks.
all these concepts, and having her inner knowing that she was going to, and she was going to be safe.
I really worked on reprogramming my mind, though.
Yes.
That was definitely a big part of it.
Yep. And she wanted to so deeply, and she created it and did it. And it was a beautiful thing.
Speaking that out, I think that's the key. That's what I'm listening here. You spoke it out.
Yeah.
You have somebody to share what you're feeling, what you're going through. That's essential, guys. So you need to speak to someone.
Yes.
There,
Yes.
it's essential.
Yes.
Because usually what it is that the more secluded, the more isolated, the more you keep it to yourself, it actually empowers you more.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to get into a little bit more detail how that undercurrent is something very dark there.
Yes.
Besides the psychological, besides the physical dependency, there's definitely a spiritual component here that really, really, it's an undercurrent that a lot of people know about this. Some people don't talk about it that much. But we're definitely going to discuss. It's very important because that's key. One of the things here that, if anything, I may share with everyone. Here we're talking about AA and, Bill W., who created AA, the 12 steps. One key thing here is that it says, in other words, and the only thing that can actually, you can transcend an addiction by having a spiritual experience. You were going through your unique spiritual experience, Megan,
Oh, yeah.
and also David and myself. That's what really gets you out of that frequency, out of that psychological thinking, and also out of that withdrawal, because there's something greater working through you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I was listening to. You went through that process. You did the action. You did the medical thing. You put all those components. Sometimes it's necessary to do that. Sometimes it's different. Everybody's unique, guys.
Yep.
Remember, how you do it in your own way, it's first of all, is you have to have that desire. This desire not neither to do it or to do it any longer, but to come to an understanding that this is no longer serving you and you're not serving it.
Yes.
Okay, that's one of the essential keys there, guys.
And she loved herself enough to not want to do that.
Well, and I have to say, I this is a whole other episode, so I'm not going to go long on this, but I do want to mention this, that yes, when I got off the Xanax, I was hit with a flood of stuff, right? Like all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, is this how I would have been for the past 25 years? Like I couldn't function because all the trauma, the suppressed trauma, like hit me in the face. But I healed all that of that too, layer by layer, and so you can too. And I'm thankful, even though it might have been hard in the beginning, I'm free of the Xanax, and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm sleeping without it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's absolutely.
You know, and the thing is that because you weren't given that power anymore, it wasn't taking you power. You know, that other undercurrent of energy that I'll just put it dark force for now, that wasn't taking from you any longer. You know, make you believe that you can't live. One beautiful thing that I'll elaborate in this, Megan, is that now you truly are being who you have always been, but you've been suppressed through taking that. You see, now you're truly being,
getting your true self.
You're true. You come to be that you have always been, but you're suppressed because of this situation. Yeah.
And I claimed all my power back.
Yes.
And that's I wanted to bring that one up first because so many out there. There's so many hidden secret battles out there that people are going to that are private, and benzos and Xanax is very, very prevalent out there, but not a lot of people speak about them a lot. So anyone that's out there, if there's a little nervousness about getting off of it, because I remember going through and we were figuring this out, we both had fear. Like I found my twin flame soulmate, and you're telling me like, if we get it off her the wrong way, she's going to die. That's extreme and crazy. Right. So if you're going through something similar, no, it's okay. You're safe. You can do it the right way. And you can, not only can you get off of it and heal, but there can be no effects after. Like,
and people don't even realize that how addictive it is. They think because it's a pharmaceutical that, I mean, we know pharmaceuticals are not great, obviously. Right. But a lot of people don't realize that.
Right.
And you know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to buy something off the street for it to be bad for you.
In fact, I would argue that the real drug problem is the legally prescribed drug.
Yeah, well, and alcohol, it's not.
Alcohol's the worst.
Quite a few things. There's a difference on the different components of that.
Yep.
There's a whole episode on pharmaceuticals. It'll probably get banned from Facebook, but that's okay. Thank you so much for sharing that, Megan. I wanted to start out with that one because I think privately that hits home with a lot of people out there that may not want to speak up to it. So I really wanted to mention that. I've been on Klonopin for 3 years now to control anxiety when I have to run out. I've experienced these horrible symptoms. So I couldn't read the rest of that, but we'll message it on you later.
I was really impressed you read what you did.
But that's why I wanted to mention
it
because
I
know
there's
so many
100%. People. And then you can also heal your anxiety.
Oh, it's Daniel.
Daniel, yes.
We'll talk to you after the show, Daniel. We got you, man.
If one thing of it is you get from here, we're living experiences, we're living beings that have already surpassed and transcended these things, guys. We're here. Now we're in our element, we're living those joyful, infinite possibilities of life.
In service.
And service. And we chose this path to do it this way, and that's okay. Each and every one out there is going to do it uniquely your own way. But the thing is that no matter how many years you've done this, or whatever it is that, it comes to be your God. We've heard that before because it comes to be something that it seems to have even greater power than even you think. That you're helpless. You think
people are escaping. Absolutely. People are escaping. They can't handle the stress. They can't handle the suppressed trauma that they're going through, and so they're escaping and they're trying to numb it. Yeah. Right. I mean, I get it.
And that's
yes. I guess the word is we're living examples of recovery, but beyond just the word recovery. Okay, because it expands from there.
Yeah.
Not just recovering.
Think
Okay,
deeper into it. Yep.
absolutely. You know, we're like everybody can be that example because everybody has this opportunity because everybody has soul.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
That's
You know,
awesome.
so it's very important to realize that no matter where or what dark place you are in your life right now, you have that opportunity because
Yep.
there's something greater, even
Yep.
what you think or what you feel or psychologically you're feeling through your body. Okay, and I said again, three of us here are living examples of that. And it's a beautiful life we're living.
And
And
on
there's
that
a good
note,
chance
yes.
that you might find your purpose
Yes.
in healing that addiction.
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. There's a reason for everything, you know. And on that note, Richard, would you mind sharing with us what was your addiction? How did you overcome it? Give us
Sure.
your story.
You know, absolutely. You know, I was pretty much as a medium. You know, went through that phase of not wanting to give this, that, and so forth. Then it started kind of deviating from it. You know, and it says, okay, I want this. I just want to be that normal person, and whatever that means, normal, right? So I started hanging around other people, going out, and I was presenting, and then somebody said, "Oh, how about you taste this? Try a little bit of cocaine, a drink, this, that, you know." And that's what it started with me, you know. And then it was, I knew that there was an experience that I wanted to have besides my spiritual experiences that I was going through, trying to also not figure it out because I knew I had this gift, but where am I going to go with this gift? You see, so something deviated me from the journey that I was here primarily to do. And then by circumstances, I was introduced into that. And then for years, it just came to be my coffee, you know. And then
Was that specifically alcohol or
no,
cocaine?
not
or
not
just
alcohol.
one?
It was more cocaine than
Wow.
anything else. It was that speed.
That's some strong coffee.
Yeah, that thing. I wanted to, you know, like, okay, I started thinking that, oh, I can alter my conscience through this way. You see, I was
Oh,
self-deceiving.
interesting.
Yeah, you know, because I knew that there was something more that I could actually go to a psychological or different sensation or energy beyond my thinking. And for a second, I have to say this, and it's been said before, the only pure experience that I say, and this might say like, what, Rich, when you were talking, you saying that the good experience that cocaine first time experience? That's the first, only time pure experience. That's the last time, guys, you will have it. You will never find it. That's why they call it you chasing that dragon.
That chasing the drag, because that
Yes.
first one's such a high.
That's it. You see, so it's a resonance of something else. So we're going to discuss a little bit later here. You know, so it grabs onto you. I'm going to call it like a force beyond your mind and body. So throughout the years, and you know, I was still in the corporate world. And what I would do is that, you know, there was an old commercial I remember years back. I don't know if you guys know, maybe possibly. I worked more to buy more, and it was a chain that would work more hours.
Make
to
more
have
money to buy more
get
cocaine.
yeah, you know,
Wow.
this and that,
Yeah,
that and
yeah.
this. And then it drove me to, well, I need a sedative than drinking. I can say here that that particular energy or deity of drinking didn't consume me, but it was a component, a complement of what it was doing. You know, so there was times there that it just progressive. It went through so many different stages. I'm going to go for the sake of time. I won't go. One of these days you see in a book or in my personal experience in a book that I'll go into details because there's quite a few things that I went through. But one thing here I want to get to, guys, it got to a point here that I was here in Austin. I had left I was transferred, or I decided to come to Austin by choice of the corporate that I was working with, marketing, and media news. I just keep it simple, not to name any names or companies here, just for the sake. But one thing is that there was a point that I indulged 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Third day I was dying, guys, physically, emotionally. I had consumed so much of it. It was
So
in my
binging
system.
on the cocaine?
Binging, drinking and binging. It was crazy. Crazy. So I was physically dying. I had this pain in my solar plex. It won't leave me. So imagine Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 24/7.
Oh.
No taking, no eating, just
Your heart.
Hardcore. There was something.
Yeah.
Okay, you know. So then I remember clearly, guys. I'm gonna be brief to my experience on my transformation because it's very important to for you guys to know how this happened to me. Then what actually happened is that, but it was a Sunday. It was extreme pain. There was nothing that I was in an apartment complex. I don't know who's I ended up with there with people I didn't know. But yeah, I knew there was something there that was also protecting me. Now I realize it. That time I didn't know. But I was in so much pain throughout the night, all Sunday. Then I got to the point I was in fetal position in the sofa, just like this, guys. And just something pulled me, and I looked up and I said, I am here. Creator, I am here. And then I just like, quick miracle? No. Slowly, subtly, the pain started going away. By noon Sunday, I was able, all that suffering, man. If you have pain, you know, ladies out there, whoever have labor pains, the pain, I would never know how to experience it, but I've had gallstones. You know how painful it is. Zap, it hits a pain, doesn't go away.
Right.
No matter what I did.
Yeah.
What I did, what I effort, anything I tried, it didn't alleviate the pain. So what happened, that experience of me going up, and just there was a surrender, guys. Neither nor wanted to live or not to live any longer. It was a surrender that came over me, and I said, Creator, I'm here. Slowly, by noontime, I was able to get out of the place, go back to the place I was staying at. I went to sleep, called my business partner, I said, I'm going to sleep. He was crazy. God, we've been looking for you. Are you okay? Go to sleep. When you wake up, give me a call. It was Sunday. Fell asleep by about 2 in the afternoon. Woke up Monday about 3 in the afternoon. Slept solid. When I woke up, guys, everything was quiet. No pain. Peace and tranquility. All the colors in the room were so bright. And there was a silence. I got out of bed, and then something came over me. That joy, I call it peace and tranquility, started coming from me. And I just got on my hands and knees next to the bed, and I started weeping like a baby. But it was tears of joy. And I heard a voice, clear as day, said to me, today you start living. There's a transformation of something else. My spiritual experience, guys, that we were talking about earlier. And then from there, as I was going through the day, I knew I was going to work that day. But as I went through the day with a peace and tranquility increasing, and then I heard another voice said, do something for yourself that you wanted to do, so simple that you never done. And the first thing came into mind, I said, I want to go to a cafe, sit down and write my life story. Just start journaling, you know. So I was able to go there. Every time, the more I moved throughout the day, the more beautiful experience was coming through me. So I was continuing, and I got to that cafe and started writing and everything. And I would look at everybody, and it just so much joy and love that was coming through me. Okay, so sometimes I can describe the negative on it, but I think it's important to describe the experience that you can have individually, guys. It's very important because I can go on with bad and negative stories of what I had through this. Too many. Okay, but one thing is important here, that while I have the spiritual experience, something also even greater than I ever thought. The peace and tranquility now never leaves me. It expands and it subsides. I'm always in that joy. One thing also, mind chatter subsided to about 25%, and now when I do my sessions, even subsides even more to 5%. It's incredible how those things work. You see, the reason I'm sharing open my heart concerning is some people have heard my story, some people haven't. But the thing is that even in me being a medium, I went through this, and I have to realize that why I went through this, because I have to experience it personally myself, so that I can be a catalyst, so I can be a living example that there is something greater than what we think or how we feel or we empowered by that particular drug. Or I call it that dark force, which is behind the drug itself.
we're going to go into detail and talk about a little bit more.
So you're at such a deep, deep low
Yes.
that you surrendered. And you were like,
there was a
here I am,
surrender.
Creator,
Yeah.
this is
it
it.
was even like with a gesture non-surrender. It was not like, because I was feeling I was dying. So it was an in-between surrender there, David and Megan. Like, it was just looking up and saying, I am here.
Yeah.
You're saying, so there's something there. There was greater surrender, one saying, I want to live or not to live. It got into that point of something, the greatest surrender. It's hard to describe, guys.
Yeah.
But that's my personal experience of.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
A powerful
Yep.
spiritual experience,
Yes,
and it was just
absolutely.
done. It can switch that quick, just like back to what you were saying.
Yes, my case,
Yeah,
one day
doesn't
to
have to
the
take
other.
long.
One day to the other.
Yeah.
You see, and then there was. I'll have to say this. There were other temptations there,
Oh,
but
yeah.
for them that it was not consumed by that. It actually I was not consumed with those temptations. And what happened is that it empowered me. Now I don't. Even drinking, I don't drink anymore. It's not because I choose or not to. It's fine. You know, there's no desire.
Right.
The desire is not
is
there.
Yeah.
not there, guys. You
Same.
know, it's okay. You know, a good friend of mine, we went to her birthday party and so forth, and then she also asked, and she was talking about, have some champagne, Richard. And once I brought the glass to my lips, just the smell of it, and I said, I'll toast without drinking. It's something that comes automatically. And you can't force it, guys, through that spiritual experience. We're going to talk a little about.
Yeah.
Another thing is
Yeah, because
here,
they call it
guys,
spirits too.
exactly, for a reason they call it
I
spirits.
know.
For a reason, absolutely.
That's,
yes. You were reading comment that is anything that we need to share back?
No, Michael said he had a midlife crisis sorts years ago, and that's when the transformation began. Yeah, it can happen like that.
Everybody has their own unique spiritual experience.
Absolutely.
But that is essential. How do you get that? That's what we're here for.
And then
sharing
integrate
the
it.
information. You can reach out to us, guys,
Yeah.
individually, collectively. That's why we're talking about this.
And spirits,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
the fact that alcohol has spirits in it is a great segue
Yes.
to my
Because-
train wreck
Yes,
of a
there you go.
story.
Because you would literally turn to a different person.
I
It
would.
was like something took over, and it was not even the same.
I definitely had experiences with cocaine in New York City. I got heavy into partying, mostly in New York, and alcohol was my vice. It really was. I definitely partook in other drugs of lower vibration, those ones like cocaine and stuff like that. But my vice was definitely the deity of alcohol. But the alcohol, it was definitely alcohol.
Yes,
that was
it
my
was.
vice. It wasn't. It was.
But you were like a functioning, successful.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, that's what they call it, right?
Yeah, because
Like
I was good at what I did at work wise,
Yeah.
but my personal life was in shambles
Right.
because
Yeah.
I would spend every bit of my money on alcohol, and it wasn't I needed physically to drink it. It was if I drank one or two,
No,
it had to be 20.
It was like one sip. If he had one sip, something changed. And like
Yeah.
you would have, like, honestly, like it was crazy.
It
Let's
was.
say you had a glass of wine, and let's say we're somewhere, at a restaurant, and you've got still half a glass of wine left. You would, while we're talking, I would watch your eyes keep looking back at the half glass of wine, wondering where's the waitress, because I already need to order my next one, even
She
though I
is-
still have half a glass here.
She is right on point. So listen, the mind,
One sip,
a
y'all.
mind of someone that is addicted to alcohol is so interesting. And I can tell you this because it was my experience, and anyone struggling with alcohol, because it is arguably one of the biggest addictions out there right now. And it is so, and be clear, if you can have a drink or two and it causes no problems, that's great. This isn't geared towards you, but it is so heavily pushed on society and so accepted,
Yes.
but it causes so much turmoil and destruction publicly and privately. And she's so right. That's such a specific thing. I'm so glad you pointed out, because looking back now, hindsight 2020, but you're right. I would be halfway done with my drink, and my mind is like, "All right, I got to get ready to order the next drink." I had
was
to
a
time
binge
it.
drinker.
I had to time it to where when the drink was gone, I immediately had my next
Right.
one.
What about this? What about we worked together? We
Okay,
sold
you can
at
go on the
medical
stories
software.
forever, so-
But I'm just saying. But no, this is we sold at trade shows.
Yeah.
And when the doctors, there's like a break time where we can like go grab lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
He would go straight to the hotel bar
Few
and
shots.
start slamming them. And I was like, oh my god, how are you going to go back and sell like this?
I
But
would.
That's
I was,
was
use
crazy.
acid to overcome addictions. You used acid to overcome addictions. that's part of my story. We'll get to that in just a second. But I really want everyone to understand, like, I was in a dark place with my alcohol, and it took me years to really come to terms with that. Because, and I take full responsibility, but in my situation in New York, it's so prevalent. Like, everyone goes out on Wednesday and you party all through Sunday. So I got caught up in that. But the interesting thing that I finally realized is something changes in my brain.
Your personality. You get jealous, and he's not a jealous person.
Yeah, not even that. Like, it's something in my brain. The first switch is everything responsibility wise goes out the window. My whole night is now about partying and whatever,
and buying everyone else their drink,
riding this high, and whatever the highest high I can get, and the next one. So consistently drinking. Something switched in my brain with alcohol, and the second I had a drink, and that was such a vice for so many years. And my family was deeply affected by it for so long. Because of the way the destruction alcohol continued to cause in my relationships and my friendships, even in work. I had one of the best boss in the entire universe.
Amazing.
That I can't speak enough more incredible things about him. His name is Andre Zimilis, the CEO of Doctor.com. He was my CEO. I was the fifth person in the company. He's my CEO for like 6 years. He saw it so much, and I have so much gratitude because of the mercy he showed me right at the point when I was starting to turn my life around. He's such an incredible human, but people saw this alcohol destroyed so much of that. And I gotta say, I tried everything society said. When it finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I do have a problem, and that was really when it got to that point, I was like, all right, I need to get help. I tried an outpatient clinic. That I can't tell you how much that didn't resonate with me personally. Now again, if it works for you, that's great. But I went in there, they were making me say things that took my power away, and making me say like I had to make sure I was avoiding streets that had alcohol on them, and I need to change all my friends. And I'm like, something, I didn't know what it was yet because it was before my spiritual awakening. But I was like, something doesn't sit right with me about this. But I went through it because that's what society says you go through it. So I went through the process.
Well, and you didn't have bad friends. Like, that's the thing. Like, your friends were great. So if you would have taken that advice, you would have missed out on good friendships. Lonely.
They were trying to isolate me, which is the worst thing you can do.
Right.
So it's like a sense of possession.
Yes.
Something else possesses you. You no longer.
It is.
Your personality.
That's right.
100%.
I changed. I did. I am not, and I would change.
But
he is so nice, and he was just,
the word possession in itself, we're going to talk about that pretty soon.
Yes, that's the next,
Let's do it.
So I tried that. I even tried the stupid pills they tell you to take. Here's the thing that drove me crazy. Like, they would literally say, okay, here, pay hundreds of dollars for these pills, and in the morning, take a pill, so if you drink later, you'll throw up. And I'm like, but if I'm going to drink later, why don't I just not take the pill? Like, it was ridiculous. Anyway, I tried it. I did AA. I did all these things, and nothing worked for me, man. It was like, and then so divine, and it's hard for me to, like, really remember the exact order of events.
Sure.
But to summarize it, and for time's sake, Megan divinely came into my life, which was beautiful. We were friends for years, and all at once, in divine timing, I was exposed to psychedelics. I started learning about psychedelics, and I didn't know psychedelics. I grew up super conservative, super like closed-minded to anything that was a drug. Everything is the devil. Everything. So I grew up like that. And as I started to awaken and realize that something's wrong with this system we're all indoctrinated into, wink, wink. Once I started realizing that, I was like, well, and I was at the end of my rope. I was like, I tried everything in society, and nothing's. And I started learning that psychedelics do something different to the brain that could potentially be helpful. So I started experimenting with psychedelics. LSD. Now, nowadays, mushrooms and plant-based medicines are very profound, and we do use them in a ceremonial aspect, and they're used as a powerful tool. But back then,
keyword ceremony, please.
Ceremonial. Yep.
They're sacred medicines.
They're sacred medicines. Thank you.
Okay, that's very important,
Thank you.
guys.
That's
not
great.
just to I'm gonna go. I have to say this. Go out there and party and this and that and be among the crowd. That's everybody. If you choose to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's
Psychedelics, and I
Okay.
want to have an entire episode on psychedelics, by the
Absolutely.
way. I really do,
Yes.
because of how strongly I feel part of my purpose is to help destigmatize them
Yeah,
and
they've been
teach
amazing.
teach people how to use them as a powerful
Yes.
divine tool we've been given to help go within and
Another
discover
great
ourselves.
episode.
That is a good.
Absolutely.
We need to do that.
Yes,
That'll be another episode. But I started experimenting with LSD specifically, is what helped me begin to rewire my mind. At that same time, this wonderful soul right here taught me about meditation. Taught me about, and I had no relationship with God. Now, for my own, I maybe did, but I didn't realize it. I'd never learned. Now, my aunts and uncles, incredible people, they tried to teach me about God and stuff. But I never had a relationship before. I just didn't. I didn't not believe, but I was like, I don't know. I have to know for sure. But she started teaching me about meditation. She taught me about affirmations. At the same time, I started using these psychedelics. So I was utilizing psychedelics, starting to meditate, starting to rewire my mind.
You were out in nature a lot.
I went out in nature, and I started doing this whole other thing that I didn't even realize that my creator was orchestrating for me through Megan, using Megan as a very powerful way to help open my mind, and my mind started to rewire completely. I started realizing, and it got to a point too where there was something in my life that was more important than me. So here's the deep thing I want everyone to understand, okay? For all of my life, I was the most important thing to me. No matter what, it was me, what I wanted. And when you're the most important thing to you, or at least in my experience, when I was the most important thing to me, whatever I wanted and my impulses came first. All of a sudden, there was this beautiful, incredible soul, Megan, and then I started transitioning and having this incredible relationship with my creator, which was just mind-blowing and beautiful, and it all started shifting. And one, not to bring a negative into it, one negative of this was, and everything happens for a reason, I understand it now, but my dad's side of the family, my dad and them, they learned that I was experimenting with psychedelics, and I was honest about it, and they kind of cut me out because of that. But it ended up being beautiful, because then I realized my true father is eternal. But at that point, I started the psychedelics really started to rewire my subconscious mind to a point where the desire completely left.
Well, and the affirmations
The
did that as
affirmation.
well.
I started meditating. I never went within. I didn't know how to meditate. I still am all over the place and have a ton of energy. I've just learned how to hone it in and control it. But meditation, going within my mind, calming your mind, going within, focusing on your breath, writing the things into existence,
And finding something that was more important than alcohol.
something that, exactly.
Going from one vibration to another vibration.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key thing here that we're talking about, That's
so true.
Because it brings you down to lower vibration.
As I raised my vibration,
Yes.
because I was I was getting to that higher states of consciousness, and I was wanting to be the best husband I could. I was wanting to be the best son of God I could. I was wanting to be these things the best of my ability. All the things that weren't in alignment with my vibration started to go away.
Exactly.
Which was alcohol, which was binge drinking, which was the partying, all that. It just left. And I'm not judging it for people going through that, but it all started to go away to where it's been years now.
Right.
Not only have not drank, but I have no desire. I can be around it just fine.
Sure.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
around it, anytime we're around it, it's fine. It just
it's
doesn't
no
align
big thing.
anymore.
Yes.
So there's a lot of strategy that we used, and I'm happy to chat with someone, chat with people one-on-one if they have questions about it.
Absolutely.
But I was able to overcome fully in every way, and defeat that.
And no relapses. It's been years.
No, not at all.
It has been years.
And that's the thing.
There's a 0% chance of that.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to get to. I think.
Yeah,
That's
this is a great time for it, because what I didn't realize, and what I'm learning now, because we're always growing and evolving, is how spiritual this world is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
On that note,
Very.
what we're learning now, and I'm really excited for Richard to speak more upon, and all of our experience upon, is the spiritual aspect to addiction.
Absolutely.
And while there is light,
And to alcohol specifically. I want to
alcohol
hear about
specifically,
that.
while there is light and while there is angels,
Yes.
there's also demons. It's a real thing. There are deities. So, Richard, if you could speak upon that.
Absolutely. Throughout my addiction that I had and throughout my life, I could always listen. So I started actually hearing, even before I would do anything, be it a drink or cocaine or whatever, I started hearing the presence. I started feeling the presence coming in.
Wow.
So as a medium, I had that understanding, but I was still consumed in it for whatever reason. Now I know, because it served me to have the experience to share with you that you can surpass this. So there was an energy, a deity. Let's go to what you said here, Megan, concerning spirits. Why do they call alcohol spirits? Because basically that's what it is. Every spirit, every alcohol, every drink has this unique deity connected to it.
Oh, that's so interesting.
How can I prove that? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's just simple of the years I've seen it. Somebody who drinks tequila acts a certain way. It doesn't impact you. It doesn't impact each and every person identically the same way. It impacts you differently. Why? Because there's a deity connected to that particular drink.
And it's almost like they feed off your soul.
They feed off your energy. They want to lower, they're vibrationally lower your energy. Just simple, guys. You take one drink, you feel good. You see, you go up to a certain level. One drink. It's not that you can't drink anything, guys. Okay, you can have a glass of wine. A lot of spiritual practitioners have their beer, wine, this and that. But the thing is that anything, even food, anything we know in moderation, it assists you. You see, it doesn't consume you. Okay, so you can have that one drink. That's okay. But if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, what happens is that you're no longer going up the frequency.
No.
You start going down.
Yes.
That's where you open
That's
yourself
why you make
up.
bad decisions. How many people can raise their hand if they made bad decisions on alcohol?
Yes, and
Everyone.
What happens is that when you start lowering that vibration, guys, you open in the window for that particular deity that's there to step in and will you, control you. You see, that's why people do foolish things, even to the extent of criminal stuff.
Yeah.
Or even people are like, oh my gosh, I slept with this person, and they would have never done that if they would have been sober.
I really turned into a different person back then.
So it's a
Crazy.
consumption. It actually, not too far off, it's like a possession.
Possession.
A puppeteer,
Wow, that's powerful,
taking
powerful.
advantage of a person who's lowered their frequency by consuming more than they should. We're talking about alcohol here, guys. Okay? So then what happens is that puppeteer deity starts latching onto you, okay? Because you open a gateway to it. Because you don't have that force field anymore. You don't have that will mind. You're vibrating at a lower frequency. Your energy level starts going lower. So that's where they jump in and they lock you in there. And then what happens is that it increases. It's a subtlety, and then one thing leads to another, to another, to another. That's what happened in my case. One thing led to another. Now we're going to switch over to different drugs. The cocaine, it's also a deity. Okay, if people who are clairvoyant can actually see those deities. There's mediums out there can actually see the deity for the addiction and the deity that's connected to that person. And it's feeding from the energy, and it's feeding from different areas, centers in our bodies. It's sucking the will, and so we won't have that confidence of the free will, or I have that true confidence to just say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be consumed by this. So I would hear those voices, and I could hear the deities. I would go, and when I was in the corporate world, I got to that to that point in my life that I could feel the energy, even if a city, I know where to find the drug without me knowing the place. Wow. Incredible. Through the frequency, the pool, the deity. I want to keep you here, enslaved in this low energy, so I can feed you. Feed from you. But
and that's why people crave it and
exactly,
they want it.
Yes. It's not only the psychological impact.
For you.
Right.
That's
You see,
interesting.
so sucking that energy, you see, and the more it's feeding from you, the more you start also lowering your vibration, the more you start craving, the more you start feeding, and then the body starts to get consumed by it. Because there's so much energy that particular deity is taking from you guys that you start getting sick.
the vibration, the energy of God's source is not flowing through.
No, because you're a lower vibration, so you're
Exactly.
the frequency of
Yeah,
sickness.
yeah.
And it's damaging the
that
neural pathways in
everything,
your brain.
and all
Yeah.
it's mind and body and everything. It's and then you come to understand, well, why does I so allow this? Each and everyone only has their own spiritual experience. You wouldn't know why. You see, each and everyone has a unique journey. One thing that
And
I
we're
learned,
human, so you can't
Absolutely.
beat yourself up over it.
absolutely.
Just
One thing,
learn from
one
it.
thing, my personal experience, what I found out that why it was consumed and that there was an allowance. There's an allowance, guys. You allow that.
You're giving permission.
Permission,
Oh, wow.
you see, because nothing can come into your space. This is fact. This is the law. There's a cosmic law. Nothing can come into space unless you allow it, guys.
Nothing can come into
No.
your space unless you allow it.
Why? Because we have the God seed within us, guys. And there's nothing greater than that love is energy, which is God's source, God of your heart. Okay? But if we allow the other thing to come in, then we're stepping away from that source. We're getting disaligned from it, guys. So what's happening? Then that's how they latch on. It's just having that energy. You can't see it, but you can feel it psychologically. Then it consumes you, and then it becomes your God. You know, and then of course there's the decay of it. The decay of it. That's why it's essential for one way or the other, guys. Reach out. That's what we're talking. Reach out to us.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what
Reach
I
out
was gonna say.
to
Your
us.
advice.
Reach out to whoever you inspired. Not only to
Whatever resonates with you.
to whatever resonates to you guys. Not only to Maegical mind and soul, but that we're putting it out there. One thing here, since it's very important, guys. Why are we speaking about the deity controlling where it comes from and where it's attached to that particular drug? Okay, cocaine, the leaf itself is sacred, but you know where it was tarnished and where it was altered when the hand of man consume it and try to alter it, put other stuff into it. So it's not sacred anymore.
yeah.
Cocaine leaf was used in ceremony so many years back.
Wow.
You see? So it served a purpose then, but again, sacred ceremony, guys. Okay? So when men started mixing it and fabricating it and altering it, that's where the deity took over. You see?
Wow.
A good thing made a bad thing.
Right.
You understand that? And then that's where if you start drinking and then it consumes you, well, you know where it's at, guys. By us revealing this to you guys, now you have a defense system.
That's right.
You're not in the dark anymore, guys. By my personal experience as a medium, I could hear those deities. If anybody tells me different, that's okay. Everybody has their own separate opinions of what addiction is, and that's all right. But one thing I know through personal experience of years, that I know that there is a dark energy. You don't have to call it a demon, a deity,
Right.
or entity, whatever. It doesn't matter. But one thing,
Right.
that's your protection there, guys, and that's your energy that you can overcome it by knowing that it's not you. It's not only psychological or physical. You're not going crazy, guys. One thing is important. There's a darker force that for some reason, and maybe through trauma, you allow the deity to come into play.
Yeah.
You're feeling down and you say, I'm going to have this drink. I'm going to do this line. You see, for whatever reason. And then you see, you open that. That's an allowance. You allowed. You let that front door for that entity to come into play and latch on to you.
Some people are just so looking for
Absolutely.
anything like to just instantly
Yes.
feel good.
Yeah, just escape from their reality.
Right.
They just want that.
And it's like there's a deeper root there though that you
Absolutely.
have to deal with, and then you'll be free of all of
and
it.
that's-
You won't
yes.
need
Yeah, and
it.
Richard's great point. What we don't realize,
Yes.
when you take that escape, there are spiritual components to that. You allow these
Absolutely.
darker things in
Yeah.
to your energetic field.
Who's
your
done this
energetic
before
body.
out there in the
Yeah.
audience? Oh, I'm just going to have one time. Just one time.
Oh, God.
I was just going to one time. And that's it. I'm just going to experiment with it. But the thing is, remember this, that it's not you only experimenting with that, guys. It's that you're opening a gateway or something. Now you know that there's a deity there waiting. And these are millions and trillions of them. you know, and the invisible world.
And you will be tested too.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. That's very true. That's
It
very
is.
true.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
But you can
That's
pass
the
them.
I have a really quick
Yes.
quick story on being tested, actually divinely tested, and I don't know if you remember this when I was in the airport. Right after I stopped drinking, I was in the airport. I was still flying around the country doing trade shows for Doctor.com and medical sales. And I was sitting, and one of my things to do back in my binge drinking days would, anytime I'd go to a show, I'd go get absolutely smashed at the airport bar and then get on the flight.
Yeah.
But I went there, and this is after I stopped drinking. I was tested. God tested me just to see, and I was rewarded, and I'll tell you how. So I was there, and I just got some food. I was at the bar, got some food, and someone
And you
started.
weren't planning on drinking.
No, not at all.
He had been doing good.
Yeah, I wasn't. I stopped at that point, and someone started choking right across from me. So I went over there. Someone helped him, and I was there to like help him up. And blah blah blah. We helped the guy, and the bartender was like, "Oh, thank you for doing that. You didn't have to do that at all. Here." And he slid me a shot, and the shot was the exact whiskey that was my like favorite whiskey.
His favorite.
So I looked at it. I was like, "Wow!" And I knew in that moment,
But if he
like,
would have taken that one shot,
oh yeah,
game over.
Oh, game over. And but then I literally said, "Oh, thanks so much, man." But I stopped drinking, which was really hard for me to say because it's that's a whole other thing. But once you stop drinking, it's hard to say that because of the fear of judgment. But anyway, I said, which we can talk about getting over that. But I said, no, thanks. You know, I stopped drinking. So they said, fine. They gave me a sandwich, and then this was not me that did this. Okay, my flight, when I was about to leave over there, I stood up. I walked over to the bookstore and I was led right to this book, The 10 Biblical Leadership Laws of Business, or 10
Of
biblical
success.
10 biblical leadership laws of success. And I bought the book, and it was an incredible book on leadership and success from literally taken from the Bible, these biblical things. So I was like, what the heck just happened? I had no intention of going. I was about to get on my flight. So you will be tested, and that's okay.
Yes.
But yeah, that's such a great...
You know, the awareness, guys. The awareness that, you know, that now you understand that it's not only you or the ego or the body desiring something or drug, whatever it is. Okay, there's a dark force behind it. That is fact.
So what do you say to someone that if they're trying to quit drinking and because they're going to experience this because it's going to be abnormal at first if they try to go out with their friends, you know, because they still want to be social and everyone's drinking and they're not, and I mean it's not that fun to be around people when they're drinking when you're not. I mean it's not,
Right.
but like they think that they need that to have fun,
Well,
right?
Well, yes. The first thing is that...
But you're proof that they don't need that to have fun.
Well, the
Yeah,
first
you
thing
answer,
is-
then I'll go.
The first thing you have to realize here, Megan, is that remember through association, if a person has that problem, the deity's there present with that other person. So through association, you can do two things: get empowered or disempowered. You see.
There you
Okay.
go.
So it's not to leave the association; it's that you're attending to you, and the person. That if that person is there, they won't put you in a particular situation. If there's no deity there, they would not put you in a position, and that person would not be manipulated or be a catalyst to manipulate you to again do it. That's a simple thing how I can answer that question, guys.
Yep. And
Absolutely.
what I would say is just do things, because that was hard for me at first. I had to like relearn how to have fun without drinking, because for years and years I associated drinking with fun. I didn't know how to have fun. But what I realized looking back now, do things to raise your vibration.
Absolutely.
Because when you do that, I mean, it's actions, physical actions are not really, they're not really that, I know this sounds crazy, but they're not that important. It's really when you raise your vibration, everything kind of falls out of alignment that is lower. Like you may not even get
falls
faced
away.
with that position, or you'll just be like, some other thing will come up that you'll do instead because you attracted it, or you just won't want to.
So
when
true.
you do things to raise your personal vibration, people fall out that aren't supposed to be aligned with you.
Yeah.
Situations
Yes.
fall, and
As
you
you
attract
raise, they
you
go
attract
away.
people that are for your higher good. So focus on you going
So-
within.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
focus on the situation.
Exactly.
Focus on going within and raising your own personal vibration, and everything works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming back to attending to you, you see, and then from there, creative source will attend to you. You person with spiritual entourage will attend to you. Your
Yes.
vibration will be effortless. It will
Yep.
come in. Don't make it a task, guys, because if you try to make it a task, it's too much work. It's not going to work.
And
You
one
buy
day at a
personal
time.
experience.
One day at a time,
You know,
that's
that's how it works. Another thing, I know we're pretty close here, guys, but one thing, I can say this. Besides, we're talking about alcohol, drugs, medication, and stuff like that. But one thing I can tell you, one thing that everybody here
Oh yeah, good one.
is addiction. Everybody here in the world, there's not one person who doesn't have this addiction, guys. And what is addiction? Thinking.
Yeah.
Addiction of thought.
Overthinking.
Overthinking, that's an addiction too, guys. Which is another, I think that's going to be another topic, another
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That
Absolutely.
addiction, you know what it keeps you out of? Flow.
Yes.
Keeps you
Yeah.
out of your flow state.
Absolutely.
Well, if
Yeah.
you're overthinking, especially if your thoughts aren't
Sure.
serving you well, you're keeping what you want at bay. Like you're
Right.
literally doing the thing that you
Sure.
don't want to do to yourself, but
Yeah.
you're
We
doing
should tie
it to
that into
yourself.
another episode for sure.
Absolutely,
That's really
because
good.
yeah, because it's an energy transfer of energy to something. You're powering something. You're empowering a thought.
Yep.
So yes, yeah. Any comments, Aaron?
No, that was great. So I think we're definitely going to do one on psychedelics in a bit. That's
Yes.
great. We have a lot of great episodes coming up. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you very
Hopefully you took a couple perspectives away with you to integrate. Obviously, we're all available. We're all here for you. You know, you can overcome any addiction. You are
I mean,
so
even if
powerful.
it's like food or caffeine.
Food,
Anything.
caffeine, porn, addiction, whatever it is,
Addict-
don't be
yes.
bashful of it. Okay,
Yes.
become aware of it. Take responsibility. Take action to overcome it. To be your best self, so you can step into your purpose and start
Absolutely.
serving.
You are worthy
your purpose.
of
You're
that.
so
It's
worthy
your
of all
birthright.
that.
You
Yes.
deserve
You
it.
are so worthy of all that.
Absolutely. Other
You know?
episodes
And
we're gonna-
healing this, you'll
Yes.
likely find your purpose, and life will
Boom.
become so much more fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Other episodes, I think we're going to talk about the addiction concerning relationships.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's
That's
good
another
too.
addiction. You know, it can consume you, can drag you down, it can destroy you mentally. You know, but that's a whole different topic there. I just
Yeah.
want to put it out there.
We
guys.
got all kinds of good stuff coming for
Absolutely.
you.
Appreciate everyone. who
Hey,
tuned
and
in
if you
today.
guys have any topics that you would love for us to
Oh,
speak on,
Great.
let us know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We welcome that.
Feel free to shoot a message to the Maegical Facebook page. You can also reach any of us. We're going to post, actually in the title, I posted Richard's website to book with him, talk with him. I put Magical's website on there too. We're always available for you. You can overcome anything. You're so freaking powerful.
You
You're
are
worthy.
powerful.
You got
Everyone
this.
stop right now and
Yes.
say this. Right now, I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Right?
That's right.
I claim
Absolutely.
all my power back.
I
That's
claim
right.
all my power back.
All
all
is
the
well and I am safe.
All is well, and I am safe.
And so it is.
And
So
so are
it is.
you guys.
You all have
Yes.
a wonderful day. We love you.
Partake with us, guys. Healing the hearts.
That's right.
Yes.
And if this resonated with you, if you feel like other people need to hear this, or you know someone, please feel free to share this.
Yes.
Share it on to your page, whoever else needs to
Please.
hear this, because you never know whose life you can touch that needs to hear these words. Addiction is arguably one of the most, it's one of the most biggest issues out there right now that people don't know how to handle, and it's all in here.
And on the other side, you have a beautiful life
Beautiful
awaiting.
life, yeah, of
Absolutely.
freedom. Yep. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Happy healing.
Happy
Happy
healing.
Happy healing. Thank you.